In World of Tanks, tanks are categorized into various classes, including heavy tanks, which generally have the best armor. However, it's important to note that the game developers continuously rebalance tanks to ensure fair gameplay, so the performance of tanks can change over time. Maus. The Maus was a German Tier X super heavy tank with exceptionally thick frontal armor, making it difficult to penetrate from the front. The Maus was a prototype tank designed and built by Germany near the end of World War II. It was intended to be the heaviest and most heavily armored tank ever produced. The Maus featured extremely thick armor, reaching up to 220 mm on the front, and mounted a 128 mm main gun. It had a crew of 6 and weighed around 188 tons, making it an enormous vehicle. Only 2 Maus prototypes were completed, and they underwent limited testing before the end of the war. However, neither of them saw combat. One prototype is currently preserved at the Kubinka Tank Museum in Russia, while the other was lost during transport and is presumed destroyed. Type 5 Heavy. This Japanese Tier X heavy tank had heavily sloped armor on its front, making it resistant to many incoming shots. The Type 5 Heavy is a super heavy tank that was developed and used by the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II. It was also known by its official designation, the Experimental Model 5. The Type 5 Heavy was intended to be a breakthrough tank, designed to provide superior firepower and protection on the battlefield. Here are some key features and characteristics of the Type 5 Heavy. Size and weight. The Type 5 Heavy was an enormous tank, weighing approximately 100 tons. It had a length of around 10 meters, 33 feet, a width of 4 meters, 13 feet, and a height of 3.8 meters, 12.5 feet. Armament. The tank was equipped with a 140 mm main gun, which was one of the largest caliber guns ever mounted on a tank. It had a range of up to 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles, and was capable of penetrating thick armor. The tank also had secondary armaments, including machine guns. Armor. The Type 5 Heavy had heavily sloped armor that provided substantial protection against enemy fire. The frontal armor was particularly thick, ranging from 150 mm to 200 mm, 5.9 to 7.9 inches, which made it difficult for most anti-tank weapons of the time to penetrate. Engine and mobility. The tank was powered by a V12 diesel engine, which produced around 1,200 horsepower. This allowed the Type 5 Heavy to reach a top speed of approximately 25 km per hour, 15.5 miles per hour. Given its immense weight, the tank had relatively poor mobility and suffered from mechanical issues. Production and deployment. The Type 5 Heavy was developed in response to the Allied tanks that were encountered by the Japanese forces during the war. However, due to the challenging circumstances of the conflict, the tank faced numerous production delays and shortages of resources. As a result, only a handful of prototypes were completed, and the tank never saw combat. The Object 705A is a Soviet/Russian prototype heavy tank that was developed during the Cold War era. It was intended to be an improvement over the previous Soviet heavy tanks, with enhanced armor protection and firepower. Here are some key features and characteristics of the Object 705A. Design and development. The Object 705A was developed in the 1960s as part of the Soviet Union's efforts to create a new generation of heavy tanks. It was designed by the Chelyabinsk-Kirov plant and aimed to address the limitations of the existing heavy tanks in terms of armor protection and firepower. Armor protection. The Object 705A featured heavy armor protection, utilizing composite and reinforced armor to withstand enemy fire. Its frontal armor was particularly thick and well-sloped to enhance its defensive capabilities. Armament. The tank was equipped with a powerful 152 mm smoothbore gun, capable of firing various types of ammunition, including APFSDS, armor-piercing fin-stabilized discarding sabot, rounds and heat, high-explosive anti-tank, shells. It also had a secondary armament of machine guns for anti-infantry purposes. Crew and layout. The Object 705A had a crew of 4 members, including a driver, gunner, loader, and commander. The driver was located in the front of the hull, while the turret housed the remaining crew members. Engine and mobility. The tank was powered by a diesel engine, providing it with sufficient power and mobility. The exact specifications of the engine are not widely available, but it allowed the tank to maneuver across various terrains and reach moderate speeds. Prototype status. Despite its promising design, the Object 705A remained a prototype and never entered mass production. It was one of several experimental tank designs developed during the Cold War, and ultimately, the Soviet Union decided to focus more on medium tanks and abandoned the development of new heavy tanks.